There is a word here called there's a word called a, epsilon iota. The epsilon iota typically means if, but if it has the circumflex over the iota, it changes the meaning, and it literally means you are. You are. Now occasionally, the accent mark will change the meaning of the word. Secondly, accents serve to indicate which syllable in a Greek word is to be stressed in pronunciation. You look at the accent, and wherever that accent is, that's where the emphasis is supposed to be placed. So look at the first word up here, apostolos. You don't say apostolos. You don't say apostolos. You don't say apostolos. You say apostolos. The emphasis is on the second syllable. The accent is the acute. Look at soma. You don't say soma. You say soma because the accent is on the first syllable. Look at cardia. You don't say cardia. You don't say cardia. You say cardia. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Did you say that only the circumflex changes the meaning of a word?
No, I didn't say only. It's not the. It's the diphthong, the circumflex. No, any accent can change the meaning of the word, but it's just you have to determine through the words, and that's something that's pretty far down into the study. Yes, ma'am.
What is the accent over the A in apostolos?
That is not an accent. Thank you. That's the next thing we're going to look at. All right, everybody got the accents? Any questions about the accents? Yes, sir, Russell.
To add what he asked, and to add to your answer, there's not that many words that the marks will actually change the meaning.
Right, very few, very few. The primary purpose for the accents is to indicate which syllable is to be stressed in the pronunciation. Okay, so wherever you see the accent mark, and there are only 3 accent marks that you'll ever come across. The acute, the grave, and the circumflex. And wherever you see those, that's where the emphasis is to be placed. Okay, very quickly, let me mention about the mark over apostolos. It is called a breathing mark. A breathing mark. There are 2 breathing marks. There is a what we call the smooth breathing. It looks like a apostrophe, I guess. A smooth breathing. And there is the rough breathing. The rough breathing looks like this. It's just backward from the smooth breathing. The rough breathing, whenever you see a rough breathing mark, it indicates that the word is to be pronounced with an initial H sound. The smooth breathing mark lacks the H sound. So if you have this word right here, if you're just looking at this word, epsilon nu, how would you pronounce that word? N. If it has the smooth breathing, you pronounce it in. In. If it has a rough breathing, you pronounce it hin. The breathing mark is always placed over the second vowel if there's a diphthong there. Always placed over the second vowel. The breathing mark is always typically over the first letter when the letter is a vowel. in the Greek word. All right, we've done a lot tonight. Here's what I want to ask you to do for your assignment. I want to ask you to go back, learn the alphabet, learn the vowels, learn the diphthongs, learn the breathing marks, and learn the accents. And if you can get those, you'll be making some real progress. If you take this sheet right here, you have the first 18 verses of the book of John. What I would encourage you to do as you practice the words, go back through the Greek words that you have, the vocabulary words, learn to write those words, learn to pronounce those words, and learn to translate them. Apostolos, apostle. Write it, pronounce it, translate it. Then, when you learn those words, go through and just read in the Greek language, John chapter 1, the first 18 verses. You have it here. You may not know what you're reading. That's fine. If you know what you're reading, you're way ahead of us. But read it anyway. Pronouncing each word. Taking the time to learn the pronunciation, the correct pronunciation. Okay, any questions tonight? Yes, sir.
Looking on that sheet that you gave us with the words, looking at the epsilon in the word departure, above the epsilon, what is that mark, or is that just the font?
You have the first mark is the breathing mark.
Okay.
Okay, it's a smooth breathing, so that means you don't have the H sound.
And then that's the accent mark.
The next one is the acute accent mark. If it was a rough breathing, how would you pronounce that? Hexados. Hexados. But you don't have the rough breathing, you have the smooth breathing, so it's exodos. It makes a lot of difference. Yes, ma'am?
I didn't get one of these.
You did not get one of those?
And we don't have
We don't have the
anything on
John
the back.
one.
Is that supposed to be on the back?
No, it's supposed to be on a separate sheet. Are we out? Did we run out? Oh, we haven't passed them out? That'd help, wouldn't it, if you had it? Okay. Jeremy's going to stand at the door. Any other questions? All right, pass them out. Any other questions? Okay, let me encourage you to do this. Don't get discouraged. It's a lot of material. I promise you, if you will study it and work on it, it'll come to you more and more. And the more you learn words and read those words, it'll become more and more familiar to you. This class will not meet next week.